Hey everyone, now I've been sharing about my life based on some of the pictures I have here, and unfortunately, I don't have pictures for everything. So, uh, last time I made a video, I did sort of a recap, what it was like coming from Michigan to the Florida Keys, and then I was eventually ready to move, and I almost went to Ohio to continue studying Kempo with my teacher Ron. But I ended up going to Denver, Colorado instead, and I've always kind of wanted to do this anyways because my dad's good friend Kelly moved out there. Now, he was one of our friends from Michigan that used to jam out in our basement, and he seemed really to be one of his closer friends and hung around the house quite a bit, and I always liked him. I thought he was a neat guy. So, anyways, my dad went out there in '88 and had an interesting experience when he met Psychic TV and their family and everything. So I thought about going to Denver for a long time for that reason, to be around Kelly and learn music and stuff like that. So so going with Ron would have been a bad idea. So it's a good thing I didn't go with Ron. So I got on the phone with Kelly as soon as that didn't work out. And then and he was nice enough to let me come and stay there. He let me visit first too, so I took a bus out in probably August of 1995. I went out there and I liked it right away. Like the second I woke up and went outside, I just liked the smell of the air and the mountains and everything. And so by going to Colorado, I realized I'm more of a mountain person than a flatlander. Ha! Or a sailor nonetheless, right? So people that live in the Florida Keys a lot of time are boat people. Now, after I went to Colorado to visit, and I went to see D. Krupps. So, going to see this show, Playing with the Young Gods, at the Mercury, I met a guy named David Mendigoran. Now, he and I stayed in touch. He might have brought me home to meet his sisters too. I think I went and met them, and then I ended up moving to that building later. So it's kind of cool that I made that connection while I was just visiting. So those guys stayed in touch with me, and I think I went home for about a month or so to just sort of save up some money and get ready to go and try to find an apartment and stuff. Thought maybe if I saved up enough money, I could make the transition, and my dad helped me ship all my stuff up there later. And so, yeah, I think one of the very first jobs I took was at McDonald's. So I found an apartment. I took a job at McDonald's, and I don't think the manager there liked me. It was just like a guy that just happened to be a jerk, just didn't like me. And I ended up just kind of walking out and quitting. And then the next thing I did was I got a job at this little gift shop being run by a Korean dude. And so the very first place I got, I was warned not to get too close to Colfax Avenue, but I did anyways. And I only lived there for a couple of months, but yeah, there were people coming up my alley and doing business right outside of my window and stuff like that. So I made friends with this guy named Bill that lived upstairs, and he helped me get a place because the lady there was kind of a jerk too. And she probably wouldn't have rented it to me, except that he's like, yeah, she's a good friend of mine. He kind of lied to her. It's like, she's a good person. You should let her rent here. And so I only wanted to move out as fast as I could because it was a nasty little place. And since I'd made friends with those people living over at the Acacia, they introduced me to the owner's son. So the dad and the oldest son owned the building, and the youngest son was living there, and they kind of helped me wiggle my way in. So they gave me like they had one of their two worst apartments. It was a nice place, but there were these two apartments together that were probably just like the storage room or some shit. And then like they kind of like put in a little bathroom and kitchenette type of thing, and but then like the pipes are exposed and it's not even attractive. It just made, you know, my friends even said so too. That's why I thought that was funny. It does look like it was once a like the storage room, you know, not really nice, but it was like the sidewalk it's like they call it garden level. It's like you're in the basement, but the top half of your room is the windows out to the sidewalk, you know, so you can see everyone walking by and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I got broken in, as having to live there. I lived there for 5 years actually. So starting out, you know, I was good friends with the people up the hall because I met that guy named David at that concert, and he acted like he wanted to be my boyfriend at first, and like I didn't go all the way with him or whatever. And then he found himself another girlfriend, and that just turned out to be Rosey's daughter Freya. And so that's where that was a very good connection, even though like it didn't work. I just felt like I wasn't attracted to him, so it's a good thing. So he kind of did better than me by finding Freya, so I think he was involved with her a little bit longer. And then Rosey was going over there to hang out, and one day they came down to get me because she was over there talking about psychic awareness and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, that's what Jody likes to talk about, so they introduced me to Rosey. So anyways, yeah, like within my first year there, I met Rosey through those guys, and I think, you know, like, I'm trying to think within that first year, I think those guys kind of set me, it was like a domino effect from meeting David to like, they introduced me to, I think a guy named Doug, and Doug introduced me to Chris, and Doug also introduced me to my neighbor upstairs, and these people kind of stayed involved with me for a long time. In fact, I'm gonna just kind of thumb through some of these pictures here, and I'll tell you as we go, I guess. So I got some of the stuff out from like what I had. You know, so I didn't have any pictures of me moving there, my buddy Kelly and all that. So these are some pictures of me. You know, like I had a Polaroid. I tried to take a picture of myself, so it's kind of blurry. That's really early '96, you know. Now that's the girl that ended up living next door to me for a little bit, and so I ended up going to work at this place called Paradise Bakery. I think after I worked at the gift shop with the Korean dude, see, there's just like the Polaroid pictures kind of came out kind of crappy, but I think that's a really nice front kick. And I had all these cool band posters. Like I had a New Order poster right up above my head in that picture. So I don't know. Just kind of sharing them, even if I don't know what the fuck's in there. Okay, now that's somebody I met with my first year, probably through the guys up the hall. And so like, you know, me and the people, you know, the girl next door I just showed you, Stella. And so I think these guys ended up moving upstairs after a bit. And that's her boyfriend Eric. Okay, yeah. And then so Doug, I think they introduced me to Doug as well. So he ended up being a student at the art school. I can't remember what it's called, like, but it's like the Art Institute, I think. So he was going to school for music. Okay, and he was cool because he brought me over a little synthesizer and a 4-track one time. I actually recorded a couple of tracks, and I let the people upstairs borrow it. My friend Nicole ran it up to play it for her boyfriend, and somebody went and recorded stuff over it, so I unfortunately lost it. Now Jeremy, I met through Doug. Now Jeremy was more of an artist, and so he was staying in the dorms. So Doug and Jeremy were staying in the dorms because they were going to the art school. So I had a couple pictures of Jeremiah. His name is Jeremy, not Jeremiah the bullfrog. Get that straight. And then there's Chris. Now I think maybe Chris and Doug were working together at Boston Chicken or Boston Market or whatever. And so me and Chris hooked up and made friends, and next thing you know, so me and Chris were boyfriend and girlfriend at first, you know. And then and this is just one of my friends. I don't have pictures of all the people I hung out with, but Tyler wasn't super close to me, but yeah, so anyways, I think I took all those with my Polaroid, and now I just wanted to pause a moment for what I'm about to share next. So I think I got a bunch of pictures here of, so I was talking about my neighbor that lived upstairs. Uh, he was a photographer and an artist. I think he was also going to the art school. That's why, you know, they were able to make the connection come full circle. And before I met him, I noticed good music coming out of his apartment, like New Order and stuff like that. But I also noticed like a squeaking sound too. And I was wondering, you know, if that was somebody jumping on a trampoline or was that somebody having sex? Well, so when I met him and we're all hanging out, I told him about it and it made him laugh, you know, like, nope, that was just my trampoline. I should have known because it was awfully rhythmic, you know, but it was just like, you know, I had to tell him that just to make him laugh, you know, because I think I figured it out, you know, like, I knew better. I had to say it just to see if he would blush. Anyways, maybe I should show these pictures. So Ralph Archuleta is the one who likes to take pictures. Okay, Ralph. So looks like the bathroom in the acacia there. So I think we went in Ralph's bathroom, and I had like this little blue spike with a black tip on it. So that's what it looks like dry. And then we were trying to make it look like I had my head in the box. I think that one came out kind of good. Okay, and then we did some goofy pictures here. We're totally being goofy, I guess. See, now I really like that little hat I got on. I don't know if I still have that or not, but I think I bought that at the Lollapalooza. And, God, what was it, 1993, because Front 242 was there in Orlando. So then one day we went to the park. I think I had like a black gi top and a white belt on because we're trying to do some kick shots, but didn't get a really good one there. Yeah, and then I think there was a color shot of me trying to hold my face in the box. Yeah, so there's me and Chris hanging out. And then just for fun, Ralph does stuff like, you know, tried to take a picture of the bottle like that, and I don't know if there was another one like that in here. Whoop. But yeah, you know, and there I am. I really liked, this in the Frontline Assembly a lot, so that's from their album Hardwired. And then just a few shots of my trip to Florida. So I went down in, I believe, 96. So that's me hanging out in the side room at my grandma's house with my Aunt Jackie's glasses on and apparently a ribbon on my head now. I think this picture really shows, like, when I cut my hair all off, how boyish I can look. I mean, I don't know if you could tell I'm really a girl or not. And then here's me trying to be a little bit dressy even. So, like, and here's the thing, though, to be honest, I don't think, you know, I don't think I've always made a whole lot of an effort to be very feminine, but at the same token, I've never really tried to be like a boy. I think, you know, maybe I'm just being my natural self, you know, and if a woman doesn't, like, really go out of her way to act extra feminine, that's one thing. But yeah, I guess, you know, some people, it's like a yin and yang that we have just a little bit more of a masculine female, and I've talked about reincarnation in some of my other videos, and who knows, maybe you're male or female as a soul, and you usually come back as a boy, and then sometimes come back as a girl, because if that was the case, you know, that could be my story. But anyways, I thought it'd be fun to share this piece of my photo album. I'm trying to think, you know, during that time, you know, some of the special things that happened, which of course I don't have pictures of, like, you know, finding my first apartment. I didn't get any pictures or anything of, like, me and my friends there. My dad's friends had, like, a really cute place they were staying in, and then so I got enrolled in Shaolin Kung Fu right away. So that's the stuff I point to once in a while is my Kung Fu class. So I got enrolled right away, and it helped me to start making connections there as well. And so I felt like, you know, my first couple of years in Denver were really busy, and I made a lot of connections really fast, and some of those connections I still have. And, you know, it's kind of amazing how that works. It's like, since I've come to Montana, it hasn't been quite the same dynamic, you know. I think just, you know, being younger, and so a lot of people I met along the way are people that were going to college and stuff, and I really wanted to get into college to get some kind of an art degree or whatever. I mean, I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to go to college, And if I have to go to college, I should do what I want to study, or what I want to make a living doing. And so they're telling me, you can't just get a grant for art school. It doesn't work like that. Like, you get grants for a lot of maybe other different things, or like they're gonna try to, get the money out of your parents. So like I was thinking I would wait, like they said, wait till you're like 25 or so, then they don't try to investigate your parents' income or try to get out of them, and so I just thought, I'm doing Shaolin, that's getting an education. As far as I'm concerned, I was learning something that, the instructors there make a full-time living teaching Kung Fu, that all I have to do is keep going to Kung Fu, I could be making a full-time living. So I was thinking in a way of making a full-time living doing Kung Fu. And so as far as I was concerned, that was good enough. So I just based my life around making it to those classes, like, try to schedule my job so that I can make it to class. So like I was just working for minimum wage. I didn't really know how to get paid better and stuff like that. So I'm thinking, my first job there, I tried McDonald's. Then I was in a gift shop, and then I ended up Paradise Bakery, and I think I made it there for almost a year, like maybe spring of '96 into early '97 or something. But I also remember a period working at Ticketmaster. I'm trying to put my finger on all that too. So that could be more '97. But so it's kind of interesting how I was able to make all those connections, and there's a few people at the Shaolin Center as well that I can't really think right off the top of my head if I knew Scott Jones yet. So Scott Jones, probably met him within that first year or so of coming in to class, and so some of my close buddies were Scott Jones was one of my closest friends that I trained with a lot, that got his black belt, and then Chris Smith, the one I mentioned earlier, that he was my boyfriend at first. I got him to come and get his black belt. And so Doug and Jeremy. Well, Doug was in town for a couple years, maybe, and he was always a close friend of mine. But then he moved away. But then Jeremy stayed around, and we knew each other much longer. And then so these are some of the people I met in that first couple of years that. Most of them I still know, like the whole, all but Doug. I was kind of wondering where he went. Otherwise, and then Scott, Scott went to prison, so unfortunately, he has a mental condition. I think he had a good heart, but he had a mental condition, and one thing led to that. So that's going to be another story later down the road. So this is somebody, I was closely involved with, who trained with me, that I trusted with my life. And turns out to go to prison, for killing somebody. So, we'll get around to that later. But coming into Denver, those first 2 years, it's amazing how many connections I made in Denver and how long lasting they were. So I really appreciate those friends, And then thinking a few more people like Lynn. Lynn became a close friend of mine for a while, and then. There's a few other friends that I just kind of stay in touch with, they've been kind of around me a lot, Seth and Ryan and a handful of people, I think John Gross, we're all working at Ticketmaster, and those are all people that I'm still in touch with, so, and that might have came more towards '97, so, but moving to Denver, I found it to be a very friendly big city, but at the same time, just kind of being so far away from my family. And then my dad's good friend Kelly moved away within that year as well. So so I kind of felt left alone. I can't remember exactly when he left, but it might have been in '96 or so. And then I went to see Frontline Assembly in '96. I really wish I had pictures of that. So that's that was an exciting event, I guess, being able to go see one of my favorite bands. Actually, I started seeing a lot of bands as often as they came through, so I can't remember every single band. I should be looking at my ticket stubs over here as a reference. So let me see if I have anything I can look at in that case. See, I got most of my ticket stubs from all the concerts I've gone to, so that's the thing to do, so You know, definitely saw Frontline Assembly that year. Man, I can't remember who all we saw that year, but like, I made friends with this kid Aaron. I was just hanging out at the bus stop, and I think I had on a D Croops t-shirt, and he came up and started bullshit, and so me and Aaron went together. So when I told my dad's friend Kelly about the show, he got me some free tickets, and he got me a pair. So I, you know, if it wasn't for that, you know, that's the funny thing is because I had a pair of tickets, I'm like, hey, well, I have a ticket, so that's kind of how we hooked up as friends. Like, we never had a boyfriend girlfriend thing. I thought he was a cute guy though, so like I kind of like, you know, thought it was cool having a guy with me going to that concert. I felt like maybe later we'll be boyfriend or girlfriend or something, but like he was on a different level. But me and him hung out a little bit before he moved on and stuff like that. So I'm trying to think, you know, like what all happened. I think I met Master Tay at like he'd come in and do like a seminar, and I think he just wrote a book. Maybe had a book signing, stuff like that. So I met him for the first time, and and I really like Master Tay. So his name is Grandmaster Sin Kong Tay of the Chinese Shaolin Center. So just big year, you know, meeting Rosey actually, by the way, I mentioned that earlier. And so anyways, boy, if I had a picture for everything. So this is just like a small sliver of my whole, you know, first couple years I just shared. Anyways, let me get going, and I will come back with another video after I organize some more pictures and hopefully remember anything from that period. Talk to you then.